videos like Sharifa has where basically like whenever I go live there's like a music and like there's stuff that goes around and numbers and like counting down 5 4 3 yay. So yeah, I think I need one of those, but that's definitely something that's going to be on my list for later, not so much for right now. But hello and welcome to the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast. I have a new intro for the podcast today, so I'm very excited to share that with you guys. This is the live recording of the podcast, which for many of you who've been along the ride with me, my philosophy is that you don't have to wait till something is perfect to do it. Just start doing the thing and then do it again and then do it again and iterate each time you do it, and it'll just get better and better and better. So if you watch the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast from the beginning, I think we're at episode 23 now. You'll find that originally I was playing around with the graphics, which by the way, I've finally gotten to the actual logo we're going to use. So now I'm fine. That's finalized. Thank God. I had some time. I sat down, I drew it out. It's absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to share it with you guys. So the beginning was all about figuring out the logo. It was also about just getting consistent because I was having a lot of trouble with consistency. And I think, when a lot of people come to me in my business and they ask me, like, I know that I need to be consistent or I'm not consistent or whatever. And the truth is that if you try to be consistent at something while at the same time you're trying to do it, quote unquote, right, or whatever you defined as right, then what ends up happening is that your brain gets so overloaded, your subconscious gets so overloaded, your body gets so overloaded that actually you just you're like, you know what, this is just too much. I'm just not doing it. And so what ends up happening is you'll do something for short pockets of time. Like you'll do it for a couple of weeks, you'll do it for a couple of days, maybe even for a month or so. And then it'll kind of taper off and like kind of just slide away, or you'll stop doing it. And that happens because you're trying to do too many things at once. So the way that I always recommend doing anything in your business is, it doesn't matter what it is, just do the thing. Doesn't matter if you think you're going to look stupid. It doesn't matter what you're hoping for the results to be or what results you get. The key is really just to do the thing and check that off the box. As long as you do the thing for the first 3 to 6 weeks, then you've won because you're building the consistency. And then after you've built the consistency, then start to play around with, okay, is the sound okay? Does my backdrop need to be fixed or whatever it is, right? But go very slowly. That actually makes the biggest difference in terms of growing anything successfully in business. So now, right, I'm still working through figuring out various things for the podcast. I don't have a standard intro, which I'm working on right now. We just finished the logo. We're now at the point where we have enough graphics to where it's not just the same graphic popping up like every single time. Like literally, it's like the one graphic that I created that poor Laura has had. Like they've been asking me for new graphics for ages. And I'm like, yes, I'll get it to you. And I haven't. And then finally I was able to get it to them this week. And I was like, oh, thank God. So if you notice on my Instagram, for the first time ever, there's a new graphic there. I'm like, oh, thank God. Hi, LaFern, and thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. And I know that your friends and fellow business owners will as well. So today we got a new intro for the podcast. Today I also came up, I think I've actually kind of massaged a little bit about how I want the podcast to work. Originally it was going to be all about like specific items that are like, this is what people say you should do, and this is what you want to do, right? It was going to be really like topic oriented, or not really topic oriented, but like activity oriented. I'm thinking actually that with this new intro, I actually had an epiphany when I woke up this morning, and I was like, I actually was going to talk about something totally different today. And then after my therapy session yesterday, I was like, nope. I tossed the whole thing and I was like, this is what we're talking about today. And I think that the way that I envision the podcast now I think it fits in a lot more. I think it'll massage into some of those like holes that we have, like those areas of discomfort that we have as business owners that I don't think it would have been able to fit in otherwise. Hi, Peggy. Good to see you. Hey, dude. Hi, Jessica. How are you doing? Jess, don't you and I have an appointment soon? Like, I feel like you and I are meeting. Are we meeting this week? Wicked excited for that. So I think the podcast, I'm really excited about how it's going to kind of like massage into this. But as we're getting started today, I'm really curious, LaFern, Peggy, Jessica, and I know we have a few more people here who haven't said hello. Say hello. I'd love to say hi. But I'm curious. Like, so one of the things that my therapist and I were talking about yesterday, which is why I decided to do this podcast, was of the team that you need as a business owner, not necessarily the team that you're paying for. Like, I'm paying for a social media expert, right? And that team, I'm talking about more like the team that's around you, right? Hi, Crystal. Hello, Sarah. Hello. Good to see you. Hello. Hi, Sophia. So I'm curious, do you feel lonely as a business owner, or do you feel like, I know that if you're a member of the squad, you probably feel a lot more supported just because you have that community that's there, but it's okay if you feel lonely even in the squad. And I really want to encourage you to share that, because that will give me an opportunity to see like what we can do to like help alleviate some of that loneliness that occurs as, for business owners. I'm so glad to hear that, Jess. I am so, so glad to hear that your dad is doing better. And if you need to reschedule this one too, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. I totally know how it is. Family first. Family first. I have serious allergies, like serious allergies. So 2 things that you guys need to know about today as we're doing our podcast recording. One is my allergies are like I can't. Okay, so we're just gonna have to work through those allergies. We may have to have some pausing during the podcast or whatever, where I just kind of pause and like combobulate. The second thing is we're finally getting our crawl space insulated, which means that our house will finally be insulated from the bottom up, because as all of you may be aware or may not be aware, we haven't had insulation under our feet since we bought the house. So and it's okay on this side. It's actually, you don't even notice it here. We actually thought we had insulation here, but we realized we don't really. But that side of the house where I sleep, so my side of the bed is on that side of the house. So Alex's side of the bed is on this side. My side of the bed is on that side. And there's a draft that just blows up into my face like all night. So we're redoing our crawl space and they're insulating it. So they worked on this side yesterday and then working on that side today. And I got to tell you, I put my foot on one part of the floor and it was not freezing cold. It was like, oh my God, this is so great. I'm so happy right now. I couldn't live without my fellow distributors who are right there in the trenches with me. Exactly. You have a team of people around you. I love that, Jen. And Jen, you are one of those people who's always understood, even from the beginning, like when you joined the squad initially, and we, and you and I've talked for, we've been friends for a while now, is that you've always really been very aware of your needs and like able to like be like, and I know that sometimes you work through them, but like you're able to get to that and be like, this is what I need for me to feel fulfilled at X. And you're not afraid to tell people when something isn't gonna, you're like, this is not gonna work for me because of blah, 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 like, or whatever it is. I think that's important for you to like, and because of that, you've been able to build a team around yourself and you have such a successful business that you run. And it is a direct result of that worldview. I strongly believe that it's a direct result of that worldview. Oh, Peggy, I'm so sorry that you feel lonely. Dude, we are here for you. We are here. Because I got to tell you, the things that we're going to talk about today will help you enormously, because business ownership is very lonely. And the thing is that eventually I'll do a podcast on this too. But the loneliness that exists as women business owners is quite, I don't want to say deliberate, but it is, over the years, it has been sort of orchestrated into that. And I don't know that there was one mastermind who orchestrated this thing as much as it was just a series of beliefs over the past 25 years that we've all brought with us, techniques, ideas, thoughts, blah, 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 blah. All of those things put together, for you, me, so many of us, we definitely have this, we have a tendency to like into our own spaces. So what we're going to talk about today specifically is actually going to be about how to solve the problem. But I think that at some point in the future, and I don't think I'm informed enough yet. I'm still working on my education in that space. But when I reach the space where I feel educated enough to have a conversation about this, I want to talk about how we ended up here, because I feel like women were done a really huge disservice the more I start to look, we know we are, but like in business especially, and I really want to massage that out because I think it will help us all as we go through our business development. But for right now and today, we're going to talk about how to mitigate that. But I just want you to know that I'm really, really sorry. The loneliness is real. It is so real. And I have been there and I have cried on the floor by myself. But hopefully what we talk about today will help. And there's at the very end, there's a particular role that I play in people's businesses that I want to just throw out there, that I will be that for all of you. Every single one of you, I will be that person for you. Okay. Elderberry syrup with local honey that will help your, you know what, Jess? I think you told me that last year too. And I think you told me that the year before. And I think every year I say, honey, ew. And then we just go through this whole thing. Now that I see that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm pretty sure Jess and I have this conversation every year. Tiffany said, I wish I had a business friend close to me. I prefer in-person communication. None of my friends are interested in direct selling. If I didn't have communities like this, I don't know what I do. Just the ability to bounce off others is a huge help. So Tiffany, I want to massage that out with you, but I don't think we'll do it on this podcast. But do me a huge favor. Can you bring that to office hours in the squad, or can you PM me about that? Just don't let this thread die, because this is important. This is something I have not thought of, but I have an idea. So I want us to talk it out, because I want to add it to something, because I think it's important. Yes, but you don't taste the honey. It's kind of like a grape flavored syrup with tons of antioxidants. Not that I'm asking you the sunflower. Whoa! She said the S word, guys. Like right early in the morning at 10:12, she said the S word. Sunflowers are disgusting. We're not going to have a conversation about sunflowers today, but we're just going to go with sunflowers. It's true. You are absolutely right. You are not asking me to eat a sunflower, and I appreciate that, because that would be just a hard no. Like an absolute, Remember when somebody showed us the pictures of the fried sunflowers? Okay, we need to do a podcast. I can't live in this space right now. I love how well you guys know me, and I love how well, like, I know why you said that, Jess. I know why you said that, and I love that you did. I'm like, I love how well the squad members know me, where, like, they know how to get, like, certain responses out of me. Thanks, Jess. I'm good. I'll be good. Alrighty. Okay. So, all right. So now we're going to get started on the podcast. See, it's always good to start a podcast with a laugh. So that works for me. Okay. So, you know, the one thing that I need is chapstick, but I think I'm going to have to just suck it up. Okay. Today's podcast, we're going to try to get through the intro, not so bad, because it's new this time. So let's see. All right. Okay. All right. Hello. My name is Manessa. Nope. Did that wrong. I was like, I don't even know what I was saying. All right. So hello, and welcome to the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast. My name is Manessa Konecki. I am a business optimization expert with 25 years of experience. And back in the day when I first started my business, I used to hustle and give myself a hard time about literally everything. But then I learned the secret of making money and creating happiness. And the weirdest thing in the world is that it was not at all what I thought it was. The secret to making money and creating happiness is to stop giving yourself a hard time. That's it. Seriously, it's just stop giving yourself a hard time. It is as simple as that. The Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast is a retrospective journey through the last 25 years of business evolution, through GeoCities and MySpace and Facebook, from sales websites to social sellings, where we re-examine the value of the stuff that we've always accepted as fact about business growth, so we can eliminate antiquated ideas that have no place in our lives anymore, without the fear of judgment, without shame, and with the confidence that it's going to make us a lot more money. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about this idea that as a business owner, you've got to do it alone, and that you don't need to ask for help, or that you don't want to ask for help, because that's something that a lot of us struggle with. And many of us, even though we have worked through a lot of the issues that brought us to that space where we don't like to ask for help, we often will find ourselves drifting back, because we're human beings and human beings drift back. If you're someone that feels like you have to do it alone, I want to just pause and take a minute to think about what kind of headspace that puts us in, right? You take on the job of being an expert at literally everything. You're taking on the job of being the expert at the things in your business. So, social media, marketing, statistics, accounting, things like that. You're also taking on the role of being your biggest cheerleader. You're taking on the role of being your teacher, a student, your confidant. You become all of the roles, okay? Now I want you to take a minute, and I want you to think about how hard that is for you to play the teacher and the student role at the same time, right? Now, it's almost like you're trying to parent yourself, right? So and for many of us who grew up with parents who were chronically ill, or who maybe had abusive parents, or grew up in maybe a difficult system of life, which is different from what many others have, who had to parent themselves. A lot of us had to parent ourselves as we were growing up. And the thing that happens when you start to parent yourself is, when you think back to your childhood self, that was really hard to do. And you know how hard that is. So now, as an adult in your business, why would you make that same choice? Now, what's really interesting is, as I was thinking about this, I actually was reminded of my friend Mo Naqvi. I went to school with him at Karachi American School in the 90s. And he is now a huge filmmaker. He makes a ton of documentary films. And a bunch of them are like on Netflix and things like that. And he did a film called Among the Believers. And the film Among the Believers is all about madrasas in Pakistan, and it explores how young children become indoctrinated into terrorism. And it's fascinating because if you've grown up in that space, you can see how if somebody had no food, no water, no house, no way to live, you're on the brink of death, and someone from a madrasa comes and offers you food, shelter, education, they'll take care of you, they love you. And so, okay, they bring you in there and now you're being fed and taken care of and now you're safe. And then they indoctrinate you into this terrorist belief system, right? You grow up to be a terrorist, right? But the question that he asked, which I thought was so powerful, was, would those children have made that same choice if they had known that there was another option, right? So let's say now you have this madrasa people who are helping them, but what if there was like, an organization in Pakistan that was designed to help children like this, and it would help to feed, clothe them, teach them, educate them, and move them on to a healthier, happier way of life. If they were given that choice as children, would they have made the choice to grow up and become a terrorist, or would they have made the choice to go and have a happy life where they weren't, it was not filled with violence? And it really made me think about the things that we are programmed into as children, because I use this example specifically because it is a very extreme example, and with it, we can now draw parallels. Because when you think about yourself and your own business and your own life and whatever, when you think about the things in your childhood that maybe they aren't going to a madrasa, but it doesn't matter. The idea of parenting yourself and doing it all on your own and the belief systems that come from that, those are belief systems that were coping mechanisms for you at the time, but they don't serve you later on in life as much, right? Especially in business. So one of the problems that a lot of us have as business owners is that we bring a lot of these belief systems from our childhood into our adult life, and we don't understand how it manifests in our business. And so we try to deal with these business issues in a lot of different ways using practical approaches. But the thing is that it's something that we need to work on the inside, because the actual source of the problem is something else. Now, for a lot of us, we learn how to cope by ourselves, right? So when we come back to this space of, okay, I have to do it all on my own, we learn how to cope by ourselves because, we're growing up for a variety of reasons. It can be trauma, it can be neglect, it can be abuse. Regardless of your superhero origin story, it was probably a challenge that you needed to work through. And you learned your coping mechanisms at that time. And for me, one of those coping mechanisms was you can only rely on yourself. Okay, that's it. You could only rely on yourself to be there for you because everyone else will eventually leave, right? And by the way, I don't believe these now, but these are the coping mechanisms that I learned when I was younger and as a child, and I brought into my adult life. And that I don't want to bother people, like, oh, can I get some help from you? Or could you help me? Oh my God, I'm bothering them, right? I don't want to bother people because if I bother them, then they may reject me and then leave. So clearly I had some rejection issues going on and some abandonment issues going on. Now, you have your own stories, but it's important to know what your stories are because they manifest themselves, as I said earlier, in your business. And the key to success in business and in life is knowing what you are good at and then knowing what you struggle with so that you can find the resource that you need to support you in those places, right? That's the success in business. Success in business is I need to know what I'm good at. And then I need to know the things that I don't know how to do so that I can find the people who can help me to do them. Now, it's not always going to be something that requires money. I got to hire a social media expert. It could be something else. And we'll talk about your 5 key team members that you need, bar none. You just need those five types of people in your life. But you got to find people to fill those roles. But if you look at the world from the perspective that I used to have, which is that you can only rely on yourself, only you, and that you don't want to bother anyone, then I can never take that next step that says I need to know what I'm good at so that I can find other people to ask for help for, because I would never ask them for help. So if I'm never going to ask them for help, then I need to do it all myself. If I need to do it all myself, then I'm sitting here all by myself like a troll, lonely under my bridge, right? Which I don't have to be there, but the whole story that I've created around my business and my life says that I need to be hiding under here in this bridge because I am a troll, right? We know that that's not up here, we know that that's not true, but the key is to kind of work through some of those issues and find resources to support us in those spaces as we come out of it, right? So as we talk today, I want to be clear that, actually, you know what, I want to go back a little bit. One of the things to keep in mind is this, and this is actually a key area about why I felt comfortable starting to ask people for help, because I want to give you this idea, and this is a powerful idea. I am Manessa Kaneki. a person, and it takes a team of people to keep me alive and a team of people to keep my business running. Okay, including me, but there's a team of people in there. There is a Jenna Green. Jenna Green has a team of people that help to keep her alive, both for her business, and she has a team of people that help her for her business, right? I am on Jenna's team. Jenna is on my team. Okay, so now we are co-supporting each other. Everyone on the planet has something that they're really good at, and everyone on the planet has things that they need help with, which means that we can all go around and find, I'm good at this and I can help you with this. And we start to create a network of relationships. Okay, a network of relationships. Ultimately what that does is it creates a very strong support system, a network of support, as it were, right? Now, as we talk today, though, I want to be clear that there are two types of teams that we work with as business owners. The first one is our life team. That's the team that we have to keep us alive, right? And then there's our business team, right? Your team may look different on your business side based on your size, sales, income, and whatever stage you're at in your business. So as part of this podcast, I'm only picking the 5 most important things that are, whether it doesn't matter whether you have a lot of money or don't have a lot of money, these are the people that you need on your team. These are the fundamental people that are going to help you be a successful business owner. So number 1, the first person that you need on your team is someone for your physical health. Okay, you have to have somebody who's there to help you with your physical health. Now, depending on what your life looks like, you may need 1 or more people to help you with your physical health. You need people in this area who are able to translate what you're experiencing physically into the medical side of it, whatever the medical side is. It could be, it could be Eastern medicine, Western medicine, doesn't matter what the medical side is. It's just the medical side. And then give you suggestions, advice, prescriptions, guidance, diagnoses, whatever, based off of their experience specifically. So I'm going to go see a acupuncture therapist on Friday. She is someone who is going to help me with my physical health. Now, the physical work that we're going to do together will probably also have an impact on my emotional health, because acupuncture has that kind of interdisciplinary kind of impact. But that's somebody there for physical. So when you think about the kinds of people you need for your physical health, the people that I think of are my dentist, my primary care doctor, my gynecologist, my naturopath or osteopath, a chiropractor, a nutritionist, a specialist for your illness. You don't need all of these people. I'm just giving you a list of who you may need. Now, for many of us, like me, for example, I have a chronic illness. So I have a dentist, but finding a primary care physician has been such a challenge. So for me, I will go looking for a primary care, and then I'll get exhausted, and then I will just stop for a bit, and then I'll look again. But it keeps coming back as something that I do because it is a priority. It's just exhausting to do. So if you are someone who struggles with a chronic illness and maybe doesn't have someone right now a doctor that you see, I want to recommend that you take a similar approach. If you have a better approach, I'd love to hear it in the comments, or bring it over to the Q&A that we did on Facebook. It'll be right there on the page. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that. But you really need someone who can help you with the medical side of it, because even if you are like, a doctor on your own right, or you have like a doctor in your family, the truth of the matter is doctors shouldn't be treating themselves, and they certainly shouldn't be treating their families, right? So find somebody who is a specialist in what you do, in what you're struggling with. There are a large number of people who can help you in this space. So if you are somebody who has historically been only all about Western medicine, but have not seen any relief from that, then you can explore Eastern medicine. If you're someone who likes to bridge the, like I like Eastern medicine, I like Western medicine, but my stomach really hurts and I've never actually explored that, then you might need a nutritionist, or you might need a functional nutritionist who's more like a coach, who can help you with that. There are a number of areas in our physical health, so not enough for us, and so many that I can't go through all of them right now. But the most important thing is that you do need to have either one person or a group of people who helps you manage your physical issues. I have a few people that help me with my physical issues, but I'm still looking for my primary care. I'm still trying to build that part of my team. I had a really good team at one point, and then it kind of fell apart as people went to various places. So I built another team, and that team kind of fell apart again because I'm 44 years old. Over time, people move, they go places, so the teams don't always stay together. So now I have to build my team again, and I feel really exhausted by it. But the fact of the matter is, I know that is a fundamental priority for me to feel like I can actually accomplish anything in my day-to-day. The second one is your mental health. Okay, so for your mental health, actually, let's back up on the physical health just a little bit. I want you to know that I have several chronic illnesses. I actually realized I probably should have shared that. I have fibromyalgia. I have IBS. I have chronic migraine. I don't even know why I can't remember, I is that all it is physically? IBS, fibromyalgia, chronic migraine. I'm pretty sure there's one more, but I don't know what it is. That's what I definitely have. And for me, finding doctors has been very, very challenging. So if We Go Health is a really great space to look at. And I also recommend you can always check out Jenna Green on Facebook, on Instagram. She is a patient advocate. She is just a relentless patient advocate, and she will have a lot of resources to help you in terms of your physical health. The next person that you need is your mental health. You need someone to help you with your mental health. And this can be a therapist, an integration coach, a life coach. You need someone who you can talk to, just sit down and unload, okay? This person serves the role of a reflection of a venting space, she'll help you see biases, brainstorm your business. You can learn so much more about your spirituality. The mental health component is incredibly important because I have observed this over the last several years, and I just want to bring it up so you can be mindful of it. If you have someone in your life who's like your best friend, your sister, someone that you care about deeply, who you spend all your time with, you talk all the time, it can be very easy to let that person become the default person that you go to vent about things in your business, to kind of unload, to do these things that truthfully should be done with your therapist or with somebody else that is not that person. There is a very big difference between having a discussion with someone about your business and saying, I'm frustrated with my business, and venting and just letting it be like this unloading of energy. Like that's a huge dump of energy. As business owners, I've worked with many business owners, and most business owners, when they're venting, they are dumping energy. They are not sitting there having a thoughtful conversation about whatever the issue is that is coming from a mindful place of solution orientation. It's coming from a space of, I'm really upset, I'm frustrated, I feel scared, I'm lonely. Like it's coming from a very, very, very pained place. And so this is not a judgment on that business owner. But it is important to recognize that there are people in your life who are not suited for that particular role. They are not meant to be the energy dump, because what happens after you dump your energy on them is they leave feeling brought down by the dumping of the energy. The better way of doing it is to work with a therapist to do the energy dump. And then once you've dumped all of the energy and gotten all of the frustrations and the crying and all that out, then you bring it out to the people in your life that you love, so that they are not bearing the brunt of the emotional weight of what it is that you're going through. It is so important to recognize that the reason why we need a team is because we don't want to overload everyone in our other people in our lives who are like our spouses or our children or our friends or whatever, who have many other roles that they play, that now we are overburdening them. They would never say no. They would never tell us that they don't want, like, and they do want to be there. Like, the thing is none of these people are going to be like, oh my God, I don't want to hear what you have to say, you're so depressing. None of these people are going to be people who feel like they don't want to hear about it, but it is still causing damage to them. And it is just really important to be mindful of what does that interaction actually look like, and what are you actually doing? Now, this may not be something that is relevant to you, but it is important to be mindful of it so you can know if it is relevant to you, right? So if you are looking for, let's say you're somebody who is not in a place right now where you can get a therapist, or, because I do know many people, and finding a therapist is incredibly hard, and it is another one of those mentally challenging and emotionally challenging things. So I know that it doesn't always work. And the good news is that there are other places in which you can do this, other spaces that you can find, other outlets. So what I would recommend, I have a few things that I suggest, definitely download the Headspace app and get into a regular meditation routine. That will help you, bar none. It will help you with the way that you feel. It will help you with the kinds of conversations that you have. It will help you with your focus, with your prioritization. Cannot stress enough how much the meditation app will at least help you get started if you cannot get a therapist at this point, or you don't have someone who can fill that role. I'd also recommend checking out Amy Lee Westervelt. She has a group where she gives a ton of support, and she's really, really good at providing a healthy space to sort of like start to turn the ship of if there's any sort of negative feelings, or if there's stuff that you're massaging through. She has some great resources for that. You can also follow people on Instagram. I recommend this is a really great space to go if you are currently not feeling super great, but you're in a space because a lot of people, including myself, we find ourselves in a space where we're so depressed or so upset or in such a negative headspace that we don't know how to get out, and we're not in a space where we're going to call a therapist because it doesn't feel like that's something that will help. Like, we're just in a really bad space. I recommend following some people on Instagram like Gabby Burstein. I recommend following John Kim. He's the hot, angry therapist. He calls himself the angry therapist, but he's so hot. So follow him for sure anyway. You can message a follow Direct to Success. Follow me for sure. I've got a lot of stuff in there. And check out Psychology Today to see if you can find something there. One thing that is important to recognize is that for many people with mental health, they might need a therapist as well as a psychiatrist. So I have a therapist and a psychiatrist. My therapist, I work with her on my mental issues and like working through emotional stuff and talk therapy. And my psychiatrist is the person who prescribes me my medication. So if you are someone who has a therapist and feels like you need to be on medication, you may want to talk to your therapist about that and she can refer you to a psychiatrist. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have the ability to find a therapist right now, I want to recommend a couple of things. Because like now, this stuff that I'm suggesting is not therapy at all. It will not substitute for therapy. It is no substitute for somebody who has actually devoted their life to this work. However, it will provide you with a space where you feel supported, where you feel healthier, where you can come to feel a little bit lighter about your business. So the Social Strategy Squad is a fabulous space to come join. We're opening up in April, so get on the wait list, and you can get on the wait list by going to www.socialstrategysquad.com. That's a group that is designed specifically to do what it is that we're talking about today, which is help to move the ship from being lonely or having a negative headspace or needing spaces to vent, like the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis as business owners. And how to work through some of those things without it letting get to critical mass. Because one of the problems that a lot of us have as business owners is that because we don't deal with these things as they come up, because we don't know where to go to deal with it, we don't have a therapist, we don't have a friend that we talk to about these kinds of things, it ends up usually building until it explodes, and then it's like a huge deal. But when you're part of these groups, Amy Lee has one, I have one, what ends up happening then is that when these things pop up, you're able to nip them in the bud. So you never really get to that fevered pitch moment. You kind of just work through things as they come up, which is what makes them super helpful. Hopefully you can hear me with over that. Okay. The next person that you need is an accountant. Okay. You need an accountant. You will never be happy in your business if you don't feel like you're making money. It's just not possible. If you feel like you're not, this is going to be like the funnest podcast ever. If you don't feel like you're making money, you will never be happy. Okay, let's try that again. We could just edit that part out. Okay. What was I even saying? Okay. The other person that you need in your business is an accountant. Because you will never be happy in your business if you don't feel like you're making money. And you won't know if you're making money if you don't have an accountant or someone looking at your funds to help you with your business planning. Even if you are someone who is good with numbers, I recommend hiring out this job. I'm a grants manager. I have managed grants since I was, oh my God, like 20 years old. I have helped run businesses, millions of dollars of businesses. I've helped run small businesses. So from small to large, whatever, you're talking like tens of millions of dollars to smaller things. And I can tell you that I'm a pro at managing money. Like I'm really, really, really good at managing money. Yet I still managed to not pay the IRS $70,000, which I outlined in a podcast, the Why Are We Shouting podcast with the founding moms. The link is in the show notes. Because there is just too much emotional baggage for me when it comes to my own money. And I can't do it. Even if I do it, I don't do it right, or I'm crying. There's just so much that happens with it. It's very challenging to do both. I recommend hiring it out, or my husband does it for us. My husband takes care of doing all of this stuff. I just gotta go back to the window really quick. Guys, how bad is this? How bad is this, people? Tell me how bad this is. All right, I'm gonna come back in a minute. Okay, we're just gonna, Laura, there's gonna be a bunch of editing that needs to get done here. Okay, alrighty. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna look at these comments. It's just gonna be a pause within the podcast, just because I want to make sure that like you guys can hear me okay and it's not so bad. Okay, we're talking about Don't Taste the Honey. Oh, you like the new intro? Oh, I'm glad you like it. I think it needs some workshopping, but I think it's much better. It's not terrible. Okay, thanks. All right, I'll keep going then. Okay. We're on 4, right? Okay. I can't remember how I ended that last one, but we're just going to go with, I said something about it's too much emotional baggage for me when it comes to my own money, too much money. And that's why I have Alex do it. So I look at my money twice a month, or actually now we're at once a month, but I look at my money once a month and we go through all of the expenses, we outline everything, but then he takes care of doing all of the taxes, making sure that all that stuff is taken care of, because I will be really honest, it frustrates me and it angers me when I look at my money, right? When I look at that I've made this much money, like I mean, $60,000 is amazing, right? $60,000 is fabulous, right? and then you have to do your taxes, and then you're sending in like 20 grand for taxes. That makes me so angry. Like, it just makes me ridiculously angry because I'm like, oh my God, I worked so hard. Now, I'm a big believer in taxes. I live in Massachusetts, but it's still, I'm like, right? So for me, that's where all that frustration came from. And I just don't want to fix that. Honestly, I don't want to deal with it. And so it's easier and more effective for me to have Alex do it. That may not be the solution that's viable for you. That might not even be your problem. You may have another issue going on. But it's really important to recognize that when it comes to your money, your business, your income, your planning, it can be challenging for you to do things that you could probably do very easily for other people. So you may be better off hiring it out. Now, the fourth role that you need is your business buddy. Now, this came up as we were talking at the very beginning when we were doing our chit chat before the podcast. And the truth is you need someone in your life who is on par with where you're at in your business. This is someone who's at a similar stage, and they need a healthy mindset. Okay. So now this doesn't have to be somebody who's like, doesn't have mental illness. So like chronic, I have anxiety, depression, PTSD, right? But what I mean is this person can't live in a space of everything happens to me. The world sucks. I need to vent all the time. This person needs to be forward thinking, abundance mindset, problem, solution oriented, opportunity oriented, that kind of thing. If this person is someone who is negative, who's like, it's like, I can't believe that so-and-so did this to me. And oh my God, this sucks again. And it's always in that space. Then what you're going to find is you will be dragged down. You're not going to be able to bring that person up. You will be dragged down. There is no world in which you bring that person up by yourself. You will just be dragged down because that person doesn't want to come out until they tell you they want to come out, or until they tell somebody that they want to come out. And so it's going to actually do damage to you. And the truth of the matter is, and Syra and I have had this conversation many, many times, that Syra and I were both in a state where we were both not in healthy headspaces at all. And my sister is my best friend. She has been my partner in crime since she was born, literally. And we had to take some time apart from each other because we both had gotten to a space where we didn't know how to stop venting. And we were just like, we were just in the totally negative headspace, and we were feeding off of each other. And so it wasn't helping. And so we had to take that time apart. So sometimes you may need to take space from people who are negative to give them space to heal and to give yourself space to heal. And then once you've both healed and worked your way through it, you can come right back. Sarah and I, everything's fine, right? But we had to work through some stuff on our own before we could be that role to each other again. But it's very important to know like that you can, and by the way, when we did our separation thing, it wasn't like Syra, I think that we're both in a negative headspace, so I think we should have time apart. We both just stopped talking to each other because we were just like, ugh, I don't like the way I feel. So it is really important that person have a healthy mindset, and that person that can be somebody who previously in your life maybe had a negative mindset, but you loved them dearly and now they've done a lot of work and they're in a different space in their lives. That's great, right? Just make sure that they're in a healthy mindset and they don't drag you down. Remember that just because you like someone doesn't necessarily mean they're best for a business buddy role, right? Now, you can have a few people in your business buddy role. So I have a few people that are in my business buddy role that I talk to at different points in time for different things, but really we bounce ideas off of each other. There's and I do, individual Marcos or whatever. And it's really helpful because you can send something really quick. You can be like, hey, have you tried this? It's it makes you feel a little bit less alone. Now, once again, I want to remind you about the Social Strategy Squad, http://www.socialstrategysquad.com, because the Social Strategy Squad is designed to create an environment where people can find their business buddies. So in the squad, we've actually found a number of people who kind of like matched up because they found their love connection. And as it continues to grow, there will be more and more opportunities to find those people that you connect with. So you're like, okay, you're my business buddy, or you're my business buddy. Some people don't want to have an individual business buddy. Okay. Some people are like, I just don't have I don't really want to like have a business buddy. The squad is a really great space for that because the Social Strategy Squad wall can be your business buddy. Okay, we're going to pause real quick. Ghosty, I'm going to let you out because he's going to try to jump off the bed and break his leg. Oh my God. Oh, this is what happens when you are refinishing your crawl space. This is like the most chaotic podcast I've literally ever done.
Sorry, people are on deck.
No, that's fine.
Oh.
But then he tried to jump off.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go back to that. Now, you may have a few people that you talk to about this, but I would recommend keeping your circle small for business buddies because the intimacy level is high. If you're going to do it in the squad, then using the wall, then I don't recommend it be like, you're not going to be able to have that. I mean, you could share as much as you want in the wall, but you may not be comfortable sharing at that level of intimacy. That's actually what I really meant to say. So for that, you might need an individual person. So I think really the key is for you to know yourself, to know what's comfortable. Try both of them out, see what works for you. And if the squad is not your jam and you're part of another community that provides that same sort of resource, try to do that as well. For example, the Sassy Suite with Brenda. I don't actually know what it's called now. And I really should, but Brenda has a group like that as well, where basically, you can find your business buddies in there as well. Okay. So now, one thing to keep in mind is that, this partnership is about working through similar issues together. And it's about sort of just feeling like you have someone in your corner, which is why I don't really think that I don't know that a big group will generally fill that need, but I will tell you that when I was first starting to become vocal about my salad use, I found that the Salad Friends group on Facebook was a really helpful place for me to go to feel like I had a community because I didn't have individual people that I was talking to about this. And then now, of course, I have individual people that I talk to about it, but it started out in the group. So you can always start out by talking about things that are relevant to your life in a group that is appropriate for it, and then see what kind of relationships and friendships you develop as a result of that step. One thing to keep in mind though, is that your business buddy does not need to be in your industry. So in fact, I would recommend against it. So you want them to be similarly close enough, right? So if somebody is a doctor, running their own doctor business versus you running an email business, it might not be a good match. But if, somebody is a boutique owner and someone else is sells, food, right? Food, items, right? Or candy, that would be similar enough. Or one is a coach, or one is a coach and one is a boutique owner, right? Those two things marry nicely together because there are things that don't apply for boutiques that do apply for coaching, but that if you talk to each other, you will get ideas that you didn't think about before because they come from a different industry, right? Because you're already probably, say, in the boutique hub, so you're getting a lot of boutique ideas from the boutique hub. But let's say you have somebody, your business bestie is a coach, and you're talking and she gives you this idea and you're like, oh my God, I never would have thought about that for my boutique because that's not something we usually do in the boutique industry. This is something that I found very helpful in terms of live selling versus live streaming. As long as you're thinking about selling live as selling live, right, then you're only going to be thinking about that. The second you think about live and how you can sell, the second you change your perspective to talking about streaming live, I am a live streamer, your conversations change, right? And so if you're working with someone who now says, I'm a live streamer and I'm going to talk about, the conversations that I can have with someone on my live, that's a whole different thing from how I sell on a live that you may not have. So it's really great to have people in different industries. But it can also be in the same industry. I don't think there's any benefit or not benefit to making sure that you find someone in your industry unless it's so unique that there's no parallel. Now, here's the last one, and this is the one that I am offering myself up to you. This is me. Here we go. Totally standing there being like, dude, I will be this for you, okay? The last thing that you need, and everybody needs this, you need a business champion, okay? This is your business champion. Think of a knight just barreling ahead. Business champion, okay? Now, this champion fills a couple of different roles, okay? So this champion is your coach, okay? So they've been there, they've done that, they know the way, and they can help you get out of the sticky spots without too much fuss. So this person has already walked the journey, not just the emotional journey, but the practical business ownership journey, has skinned her knees, run into walls, skinned their knees, I'm gonna use that instead, skinned their knees. They've already been through the ringer, and they can help you with the coaching that you need to move from one space to another, almost like a mentor, a business mentor. But then you also need the side where somebody knows the practical steps, right? So I am a business coach and I'm going to help you with these practical steps that are going to help you walk, right? This person is a person who believes in you. They believe in you and what you're able to accomplish. They'll cheer you on. They'll pick you up when you fall and put a little rainbow bright Band-Aid on your knee, and then point you in the right direction, help you with the tools that you need, and then say, okay, off you go, try again. And then if you skin your knee again, I've got another Band-Aid right here, right? I will help you the whole way, right? Everyone needs a champion. Everyone needs someone behind them who's like, listen, I've been there, I've done that, and you're doing great. Keep going. A coach who's there for you, right? Everybody needs that. If you are looking for someone to fill that role, I am happy to fill it. That is actually the squad. That's what I am. That's what I do. I feel like that. I want that to be my title, but I'm not really sure that that's the greatest. I will defer to you in terms of what your thoughts are on that title. But here's why, because I think it doesn't make sense unless you hear what I think it is. Your business champion is someone who is in your corner. They're there for you. You can come to them with questions. They're the ones who help you get where you're going. They help you fly. That's the key. Now, the social strategy squad, here's where I ran into some problems. So I ran into some problems because I love being a business champion, and I was a business champion to a lot of people, but I was unable to be a business champion to as many people as I would like to be. And so I created the squad so that I could be a business champion to anyone who wanted to come to the squad and be there, right? Be among people who think the same way. Find your business buddy. Every single thing that we talked about today, you can find in the squad. You can find your business champion in the squad. That's me. You can find your business buddy in the squad. You could actually find your accountant in the squad. You can find your mental health stuff in the squad. Fun fact about physical health. We actually had a thread in the wall the other day where one of the squad members, she just had a grandchild. There was something happening with the grandchild and they weren't sure what it was. So she posted on the wall and she asked about it. And a bunch of squad members went in and answered and were like, have you checked this? Have you checked this? And one of them gave her a suggestion that actually ended up giving her the direction she needed to tell the doctor to look for something. And the doctor found it and they have a diagnosis and then they can fix it and it's all fine, right? Crazy. I didn't even know that the squad could help you with your physical health. Go figure, right? But we're not doctors. So don't come to us asking for surgery or anything. We can't do that. No surgery in the squad. You can get all of these things in the squad, but we can also help you find a lot of these things. So one of the key aspects of my business overall is that if you need help finding one of these people, you can message the business page and we will help you. We'll help give you some direction in terms of where you need to go, what you may want to look at, what you may be looking for, that kind of thing. Always message. I am putting myself out there. I will be your business champion. Okay. I am going to be fully transparent with you. My team is way bigger than this. It's bigger than the 5 people that I just said. And this isn't to say, oh, look how big my team is. It's to say, look how many people it takes to keep me alive, right? Or keep my business going. I can't stay alive without my husband checking to make sure I took my meds or giving me massages through the worst of my fibro days or letting me sleep in and then taking the dogs out when I cannot even move. My team is Jenna and my sister who are emotional supports when I feel down. And that doesn't even begin to talk about the various people I've added to my social media and my marketing team as I've grown in my business. And the reason why I talk about my team a lot is because it's important for me that you know that I don't do any of this by myself and that I haven't for years. The second I accepted that keeping Vanessa Konecki alive and running a successful business was a team effort and that it's the same for all of us, I felt less afraid of identifying people who could help me. And then I started looking for ways that I could help others. Thus came my business champion role. Who knows what doors will open for you once you begin thinking of yourself as a team effort. Use this podcast as a blueprint and be sure to get the podcast into the ears of people who feel like they need to stand stoic and isolated because we know that the journey is harder to do alone. And I'm going to be here next. You know what? I don't like the ending. Journey harder when you do it alone. Okay, we'll stop there. And then I'm going to be like, I need something else there. Because it sounds so sad and depressing. I want to do it with you. I want the whole team to do it with you. So message us on Direct to Success. Share this with your friends. Leave a review on iTunes or whatever it is that you listen to this podcast on, and get yourself on the Social Strategy Squad mailing list so that you can start to fill all of these roles ASAP. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Wow, that was a lot longer than I expected, but I think it was important. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what we got here. Don't taste the honey. All right. Okay. Jessica says, growing up with a different set of circumstances can make a huge difference in anyone's life and the choice they make. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't know. Exactly. Like LaFern said, you don't know until you know, right? And then you're like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that. You know? Hi, Sheila. So good to see you. Hello, Ashley. Hello. Jenna Green is also amazing. And Peggy says, yes, and we just receive remain in negative spaces. That's the thing. So let me tell you something I learned about myself 3 years ago after I got back from Europe when Sarah and I followed AHA. I realized something really, I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but it's true. I love living in a melancholy space. I love it's like sugary, marinating in this warm, soft, melancholy sadness. It's like, oh, I could stay in that. It feels so poignant inside. And then you think to yourself, you're like, this teardrop falls and it's so dramatic. I love it. I cannot deny that that's a space in which I am really comfortable. Right? But I also don't love it. I hate it. It makes me feel so bad. It keeps me in a negative headspace like all the time. But I know that about myself, right? And so I've actually stopped listening to AHA. I had to stop listening to AHA because it kept taking me down to this melancholy negative headspace. And it's so important to know that about myself, because I know that like sometimes I'll hear a song and I can feel the lure, the siren song bringing me back to that space. And I'm like, whoa, let's take it back a notch, right? Because it's so seductive. So Peggy, I love that you said this, because for some of us, we get stuck in the negative headspace because we don't know how to get out and it's miserable and it's awful. But I don't want to discount those people like me who feel like this is such a luxurious space, almost like Sylvia Plath, you know, like in her luxury. I mean, obviously not that Sylvia Plath, you know, but I mean, she was always luxuriating in misery, right? It's like, what the hell, woman? Outsourcing taxes and financial planning is life. Absolutely. Alrighty. Let's see. It's so weird how this gives me double comments. And then like it's so random like where the comments are, so I have to like go up and down to like find the actual comments that are in here, because like the elderberry syrup one that you said, Jess, it's showing up like 13 times in this list, and I'm like, really, dude, really? Okay, well, I think I have gotten the ones that I think I got to all the comments. Okay, alrighty, so here's what I want to leave you guys with today. It takes a team. And this is something that my therapist and I talked about yesterday, and I'm actually going to be talking about a lot more. I want to actually make it more of a fundamental pillar, because I was just bawling on therapy yesterday. I was bawling and I was not in a good space. I was just bawling about all kinds of things. I don't even know what I was bawling about. But one of the key areas that came out was this idea that I don't have my full team right now. And, somebody says they're really comfy in that space. Oh my God, who is? Peggy? You're very comfy in that space too. I wondered if you were. Like, I'm so comfortable there. I could live there. You give me an AHA song right now, I'll dive right in and be like, oh, so sad. It'll take me about 15 minutes to find some really good, poignant, sad memories that bring some tears up, and then I'm off to the races. You know, it's like, but I can do it in like a second. I have to be mindful about it. So yeah, so what I want to leave you with is this, I'm going to bring this up a lot more, because I realize I don't have my entire team. And because I don't have my entire team, she mentioned that I'm starting to, like she said, because you don't have a doctor, I think this is starting to take a toll on your body. You've been able to do it so far, but I really think you need to get a doctor. And I'm like, you're absolutely right, because I know that that's one of my bigger issues, because it's weighing on my head and it's there. But I realized what an impact it was having on me. And I feel like every other part of my life is very stable. Like my life is very stable. My business is great. We're putting in a new, you know, like only good things are happening in my life, right? Only good things are happening in my life, mashallah. But despite that, I just was achy and in pain on the inside and feeling bad and miserable and just all of those things, right? And she said, listen, I've been working with you for a while now. And she's like, I really do feel like this is coming from your physical space, that your fiber flare has been going on for a while. And I think that if you start working on your physical health, go exercise, that kind of thing, I think you'll start to see a big difference. And I don't think she's wrong, right? And so it's so important to recognize those things. Like, by the way, for a physical, one of you guys, it might be a fitness trainer, right? That's also a physical person too. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, because what had occurred to me was that if I was feeling that bad, right? And like in that moment where I feel like everything else is good in that, and I just don't have one person in my business, it started to take me back to what I felt like before, when I didn't have anybody. I didn't have a therapist. I didn't have a psychiatrist. I didn't have my medication. I wasn't smoking weed. I didn't have anything. It was just me and my husband, and he was trying to help me as best as he could, but he's not any of those 5 things. And I was just like, well, now what, you know? And it took me back to that space, and it made me realize that I have gone through this journey here, but I have not shared it the way that I would have liked to share it, to make sure that it's really clear that even if you aren't hiring people right now, if you can't afford to hire a social media person, doesn't mean that there aren't members of your team that you need to have, right? No need to have. You know what, Peggy? Absolutely. Peggy, dude, you need to join the squad. Get yourself on the waiting list, girl. I'm serious. You have to get into the squad. And in addition to that, I want you to, ping me on the business page. I'm back-to-back meetings today, but I will get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. I want to send some things your way that I think might help, because I've been there. I've been where you're at. Exactly what you're saying. I'm afraid to fail. I shut down. There's a few things that I think might help. So just send me a ping and I will get to it in the next couple of days. But in the meantime, everybody who listens to this podcast or this live stream needs to get on the Social Strategy Squad waiting list, because if you don't know where to go to find your team, we have all of these people in the squad and we can help you find everybody else. Like that's what the squad is. We are your cheerleaders. We are your team. We are the team that will help you find your personalized team, right? So I will help you get there. These are the things. These are the hidden secrets that actually create a successful business that nobody tells you about. So get into the squad. I'm not trying to I'm telling everybody what they are, but it'll just take so long to like actually move everybody through all of them that you got to join the squad to do it, because I already have it codified in there. So join the squad. It opens up in April. Get yourself on the waiting list. The squad is life. It is life. Dude, Peggy, we got you. Send me a message. I'll see you in the squad. But I'm about to run. I got to pee and then I have a meeting in 4 minutes. So, Lara, I appreciate so much that you're going to have to do so much editing today. So much editing today, but I love you and you're the best.